Hello again and welcome to Public Conscience on Radio. I'm Okiri Agbonsu Remy. It is another edition of the program Public Conscience on Radio. We come to you with full conviction that corruption can indeed be greatly minimized in society by amplifying cases investigated by our partners. We do all this on the platform of the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, Primong, and as we always tell you, Public Conscience on Radio is supported by the MacArthur Foundation. Chukwudi Okole-Ugwaja is my partner on the program and he's right in here with me.
Thanks, Ohiria, and thanks to you out there for being part of the program again.
Chukwudi, you were going to have a reminder, and you have a reminder to give.
Yes, as I said earlier, we're thanking you for still being out there, and the reminder is that birth registration is free. Do not pay to get a birth registered. Please insist on things being done properly.
That's a good reminder that birth registration and the certificate accompanying it should not be paid for. Please insist on free registration of births. But today's program now is interesting. The one we are focusing on today is really interesting. It's one that you have been following on. That is the allegations of scam. Are they still allegations? No. We have found that they are actually scams in the electricity metering distribution system. And we have finally got the officials of the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission, Nerc, to come to the program. And we will introduce him shortly as we ride on the program.
But please remember that our dedicated WhatsApp line for messages only is still out there for you. That's 0902-265-6167. 0902-265-6167.
That is 090-2265-6167. That is strictly our WhatsApp number, and we'll be harvesting whatever questions you want to ask. I know that there are so many people who want to call, and when we open up the phone, it will be jammy. But just put up a line, and then we'll be able to take your message in here, read it out, and if we have the messages to take up to the next level, we escalate to the next level where we can get answers to your questions.
You want to tell us how far we've gone on this trip so far?
Yeah, it's an opportunity to take it all to the climax. Of course, you have lodged your complaints, and AEDC official, in fact, the general manager in charge of corporate communications, Mr. Fadipe, was here. So has the President Nigeria Consumer Protection Network, Kulekola Olubiyo. It's the turn of the Nigeria Electricity Regulation Commission, and we are having an official in the studio. We just want to interact with our guests in the studio. Of course, it's not just somebody who will be speculating, somebody who knows so much about what is being regulated. What we have given you in the past is that there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of fraud, there's a lot of money, a lot of NEPA 1, NEPA 2, NEPA 3. We don't even know how to describe them. It is massive, and our previous guest, Olubiyo, has told us that it is beyond a scam. It is one that is pervasive all over the place. And the course we have gotten in the past, in the course of the program, also indicates that Nigerians, many consumers are suffering under the load, under the yoke of this. But we have Dr. Shitu Shuaibu. He is the Deputy General Manager, Consumer Affairs of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NAC. Thank you so much for joining us on the program, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Now, can you briefly tell us the role of NAC in electricity administration, particularly with respect to meter administration?
Okay, thank you very much. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission is a body corporate that was established via the Power Sector Reform Act of 2005, and we have the mandate of ensuring that the Nigerian electricity market, from generation, transmission, all the way to distribution, is properly regulated and is working functionally well. The issue of the reform of electricity moving from government to private sector. It was what led to the creation as part of the Act of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. And presently we have 7 commissioners. The chairman, who is also Momo, who is presently the chairman of the commission, with 6 other commissioners. And our role, is to ensure that, we give regulations and orders that would help for us to ensure an effective electricity market. With respect to metering, that's a particular, an aspect of the distribution network. Metering actually is not strictly for distribution. The meter is what really computes, the volume of electricity consumed from generation, transmission.
Wonderful.
So it is not just about using it for billing.
It's not just.
It's also giving the record of whatever.
It actually computes electricity, because electricity is a very, it's a product that you only see in light, heat, and motive energy. So you don't actually see electricity. What you see electricity is light. You see heat. You feel heat. You feel motive energy.
Of electricity.
Absolutely. So you don't.
No. Are you satisfied what has been going on? Is Nerc satisfied what has been going on? Because we don't need to tell you the story. You already are aware. You have complaint centers. Are you satisfied what is going on?
You're a bit mild on it here, aren't you? I wanted to ask him, why could so much scam be going on with impunity when you're around on the scene?
Well, the definition of scam is, it's neither here nor there. What we do is we give regulations and rules, and we advise customers, especially at distribution end user level, that you don't pay money to anybody if you don't have a bill. The only money you pay is for your bill. And in the bill, what we have is, how do we compute the bill? The bill is the total cost. I mentioned generation, transmission, and distribution.
Yes.
How you cost electricity is you take the cost that's the input from generation, transmission, distribution, all the way to supply of electricity. And then at the end of the day, you get what we call the revenue requirement for the discos. And then at the end of the day, the customer pays the final bill, which you see, depending on the category.
Let me get it straight. The bill that the customer pays,
absolutely,
it is not just the cost for the disco. It's just it represents the total cost.
It represents the entire.
That is why, for instance,
yes,
the transmission or the chain, including Nerc itself,
absolutely, benefit
from what is paid by the consumer ultimately.
Well, what we have in MITO, the multi-year tariff order, that is the basis of setting of tariff.
Mm-hmm.
The multi-year tariff order is a building block arrangement which looks at the capex, that is the capital expenditure, and the opex, that is the operating expenditure and overhead. That's the cost of generating, transmitting, and distributing electricity, and including ancillary services, which includes that of the NERC and market operator and the system operator. So these are the total gamut of course, and they all come down to that end user tariff, which is located in your bill.
Why have you been so quiet and silent about the suffering of the consumers in the hands of the discos in estimated billings and the fraud that has been? Why has Nerc not come up? I mean, openly tell the people how to go about it in such a way that they will understand. It does appear that your complaint centers are clandestinely operating, that people don't even know. When we open the phone now, they will tell us if they actually know anything about Nerc and what you are trying to do. Why have you left the discos to deal with consumers in the manner that they are all crying?
Yeah, what we want to first and foremost establish is that, this electricity issue has been on since we were born. And the transition from NEPA to PACN to private people now has been done in such a way that, the average consumer out there has what you call cognitive dissonance. He doesn't believe that somebody can solve his problem. So you find that if you have a problem, oftentimes you see a Nigerian telling his neighbor, look at these people, they have come again. Meanwhile, from the beginning of the commission, I think way back 2006 or 7, we had a regulation that stipulates, because that was the first thing that the regulator did, because he knows that the average Nigerian has given up on the issue of electricity. So what we did was to set up what we call a redress mechanism.
Redress mechanism,
yes, is the Customer Complaints Handling Standards and Procedures Regulation. It was the first regulation, and this regulation sets up the framework through which you can give your complaints. Before now, if you have problems, you go to NEPA. If NEPA does not solve the problem, you go to NEPA. If still you get frustrated. And so when the commission came up, we set up this redress mechanism such that it's a three-tiered, approach, in such a way that you go first and foremost to what we call the Customer Complaints Unit, the CCUs. And we are giving, in that regulation, you are given a timeline. If you are not satisfied within 15 working days, you escalate it to what we call the forum office, the Nerc forum office. And we presently, as we are speaking, we have 30 forum offices spread the whole in the entire country. Abuja, we have one in Gwarimpa. We are proposing to open one in Lokoja. In fact, the point, it was situated in the 11 discos first, such that you go there after you've been to the disco and you are not satisfied. You go there and you make complaints. If you make a complaint there, even the forum has a timeline within which it's supposed to deal with your it's like the appeal case. And a forum office has representatives representing the various customer classes. You have the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, you have the NASIMA, you have even an NGO representative, so that you have an independent approach. You have CPC, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Agency, as a member of the forum office, and of course you have the Nigerian Society of Engineers. That's the panel that sits independent of even the commission to look at cases that have been escalated from.
Dr. Tribal, yes, I still think that you need more visibility.
Absolutely.
With this watchdog role, you don't want to give the wrong impression that you're just there as kings in a secluded palace. The people can't reach you. I think you still need more visibility.
Absolutely, sir. This is the last time I was here, Nigeria Info. I was here with the chairman of the Federal Competition and Communication and Consumer Protection Commission. I was here with the DG. So we do our best to reach out. But the thing is that the responsibility for reaching out is that of principally the distribution companies, and we do monitor them. We do ensure that, in fact, presently we have what we call an action plan for annual review of how they reach out to their customers.
I think from what you described just now, like you stay up there and the consumers are being strangulated down to get to you is difficult. Part of the reasons many consumers have called us to tell us on this program is that NAC will probably not be so hard on the discos because they are ultimate beneficiaries, because the discos collect the money from which they benefit from ultimately. So you keep a blind eye to the all estimated billings, because at the end of the day, NAC gets a percentage from the system.
This is an ironic position because every regulator depends on the operators to operate. But the thing is that, you see, for a regulator to call itself a regulator, we are in a purely tender monopolistic environment. Is a regulated environment. What we do is that if we require that a customer should pay strictly based on what he's billed, and I tell you that
by estimation,
estimation,
because the law there's a regulation.
Yes.
We have set of regulations.
Yes. Which
one of them first said that all houses must be metered.
Absolutely.
The other one says if it is not metered, there are basic guidelines.
Absolutely.
That these are the problems. Most of the complaints flow from the fact that the guidelines are not followed.
Absolutely. Well, basically what we do, in fact, it's ironic that we're getting this discussion because it's my role. I'm the Consumer Affairs head, at least for now. My commissioner is, Dr. Moses Arigu. He's the head of consumer complaints. And what we have done, we've become so effective that if you don't report, your case stays there. You will probably.
So if nobody comes to you.
Yes, if you don't report a case, because this is a rule-based
organization. Do you have phone numbers that people can use to reach you?
Of course, we have our website is laden with all the information.
Website
and like I said,
is a bit elitist.
It's elitist.
No, we have phone numbers.
Because the people who are in Yaya, who are in Nasarawa, who are in all these other places.
All right, you see, with respect to stakeholder engagement, even as we are speaking now, there is supposed to be a stakeholder engagement in Akure. We go out. In fact, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were in Ikeja with our friend here, and we, even with the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Agency, we were together in Lagos. Nerc is the prime regulator of the electricity sector, and what we do is we go through the nooks and crannies of Nigeria, informing the customers. Like I said, there's the issue.
Numbers. Don't forget the phone numbers.
We want you to give them the phone number before the next question. Just give them the phone number they can reach you in case they have. They want to escalate from the level that they have turned to you, so that they also even know where to get you. Some people don't know that you have an office in Guarimpa, for instance.
The email and the phone number, I will get you the.
You can get that phone number over time, please.
But let me ask you, where are the meters? Where are meters not available?
Okay, the issue of meter is a historical issue. In fact, at the time of the transition from PACN to the present distribution companies and generation companies, what we had a metering gap of about 50%, which means that less than 50% of Nigerians, and this is a clear report.
What percentage are we now?
We are still, in fact, it's even worse, because what has happened is that the customer population has increased in terms of, because we did a customer enumeration project, getting new customers, those who are free riding on electricity. We did a customer enumeration project which now captures. So you have a gap of about 57% of metering. But take note that metering is part of what distribution companies are supposed to, fund
yes.
in terms of. But what has happened is, issues still come down to cost reflectivity of tariff, because government is still, giving in a lot of subsidy. If a disco goes out and says, okay, it wants to, invest in metering, it takes billions of naira. So what the commission has done over time is that we brought in a project called the CAPME project, which means that customers are, free to go, and give money to, distribution companies and get paid back. Like I said, the arrangement for revenue of a disco is, if you don't invest, you don't reap, you don't get any returns.
Let's just quickly get in the guest who has followed us on this program, Kunle Olubiyo, the president of the Consumers Protection Network. I think I'll just quickly summarize it, because he's been here crying out loud, all platforms, trying to find out. You have listened to him, Mr. Olubiyo. Are there facts in what he has said? They have been doing enough. They are accessible. They have all their doors open, and consumers are the ones who do not complain. Your consumers are not complaining?
Well, thank you. I want to appreciate the effort of my good brother and friend, Dr. Shitu Shaibu, for doing this job diligently. I will believe that he has done this job diligently on behalf of NARC. But to us, as end users of electricity, I believe that electricity consumers, because if you don't have a demand, you can't have a supply. So, and the demand side of the value chains are the consumers. All the issues, the operators and the regulators, they're on the supply side of the value chain. And to the best of our knowledge, we are dissatisfied. It's like Nerc is overboarding. Because you look at the size of...
When you say overboarding...
yes. The reality is that if not for Nigeria, we are not implementing the spirit and letters of federalism. Some of these things are supposed to be like devolution of power, over concentration of responsibility. Some of the things that NEC is doing, what we want is results. Some of the states could equally complement their effort. I haven't said that. There are a lot that the NEC Act, which is a sector-wide reform act.
Yes.
As we speak now, we don't have Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission Act, which we expect, which I raised at a joint public for the Senate, that about 3-4 years ago, that we need to have a NEC Act. There are a lot of emerging trends or issues that has occurred between 2005 to date.
Now let's
that were not captured by the NEC Act.
Let us leave this theoretical aspect.
So I will say that,
and come to the issue of the corruption in the meter and the suffering our people, the consumers that you represent.
Truly, like you have said, we felt it's an embarrassment and a misnomer for NERC to be a beneficiary of whatever money we pay, because it will make them not to be insulated. They are interested party, and we feel that government should do more funding, while at the same time
consumers believe that may be the reason why
that is undermining, because there have been continuous increase in tariff, why there is no corresponding line between improvement in collection, revenue efficiency, and services, and investment in the network. So NARC and the discos, to us, we see them as partners. in whatever that is happening. That, having said that, the NERC has a regulation for standard for investment in the network. I was in a lorry where communities spend millions of naira to buy transformer, to buy and the line materials.
Well, you don't need to go to Ilori.
I'm even talking about
even Abuja
it's
here.
widespread.
Where that community?
I'm even trying to cite.
the Peggy community. No, unfortunately, because of the nature,
22 million.
Our focus is on generality of the electricity sector, and majority of the issues now Abuja, but it's widespread. It's a nationwide.
Of course, we are broadcasting in Lagos, in the southeast, in Kwara. In fact, around Nigeria.
So whatever example
you have the information.
Whatever example I'm using is widespread.
Yeah.
Electricity consumer invest in the network, and like I've said, the NERC Act is obsolete. In the sense that the regulation, the framing of mind of the regulation is that this is a private sector-driven economy, so to say, at the upstream and downstream, generation and distribution. For electricity consumer to have written to a distribution company, in English legal system, their laws are not written. By implied or implicity, they wrote to the discos that they want to invest. The disco allowed them. They saw the letter. They took note. That's a loan. So they will now force consumers to say, write to us that before we take over this thing, is going to be a donation.
Okay, let's allow our listeners out there who have been anxious to interact with our guests here on some of the issues raised. I believe you can interact now. You have Dr. Shitu in the studio, and you want to ask your questions. He says you must complain, and if you don't complain, they don't know that you have any problem. Of course, that is actually logical, and that if you just sit down in your house and complain to your neighbor, now have you been complaining? Whom have you complained to? Have you complained and nobody listened to you?
Okay, now the lines are complaining. Please, let's attend to them.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Your name and where you calling from, and then go straight ahead to the point.
Yes, I'm David Imaji.
David.
Calling from Maraba in Nasarawa State, ASO in particular.
Go up.
This issue of NEPA, investing into this school, just as you have said, you just put your money and they'll be the one to collect the money. We have tried in our community. Even now, they will give you a bill of which many people are being disconnected. You go and beg them, this is what you have, they'll say no. Where there's no meter, for more than 2 months now, I've been fighting to get meter, I can't get it. The issue of this school, government should take over from them.
Have you applied?
Have you applied for the meter?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I've been going there several.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's get the next caller. Hello. Your name?
John. My name is John Sukura. Please, I want these NEPA people, my brother.
This NEPA people.
They are all crazy different. Because even when you don't get light, you still pay.
Have you been complaining? Have you complained? You don't have light and you get bill. Have you complained?
I am 100% sure that I complained. Even yesterday, I was in their office. In fact, last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks thereabout, there was no light in our area.
Now, John, John, are you aware that if you complain to a disco office like AEDC and you are not satisfied, and that you can go to a NERC office? Are you aware there's an office that is run by the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission that you can go and complain to if you are not satisfied?
I don't know that.
Okay. Let's go to the next call, because that is actually where
that's
the problem.
That's a very good one. John, you know that now. Please use the opportunity. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, can you put down the volume of your radio set, please?
Yes, I just did that.
Okay, go ahead.
And now your name and your comment, quickly.
Okay, my name is Edil, and my comment is on the redress issue that Mr. Shitu talked about. I happened to be with the sales manager of ADC one day, and they were talking about this forum incident where judgment was given against the consumer. So they were all celebrating the office, and the sales manager went on to say there is no way NERC would give judgment against them because they are a beneficiary of the penalty that the consumer has to pay. So in other words, I don't see the objectivity of Nerc anytime that the consumer goes to the forum.
You don't have the confidence. You don't have the confidence of taking the complaint to that forum. Hello.
Hello, sir.
You don't have the confidence to take your complaints to that forum. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, because it looks like Nerc is benefiting from the penalties that the customer will have to pay. So I don't see why they will be objective about it.
All right, let's go to the next call.
Just what you said earlier.
Hello.
Thank you. My name is Mr. Jeremiah. I'm calling from Asokoro.
Jeremiah, thank you for joining us. Go ahead. Have you complained at all to any of the offices over any issue?
No. The reason is that because the service provider people or the customer care provider people, when you take your complaint to them, they will listen to it, but they will not make any haste to resolve the issue. Rather, they will turn your complaint aside, looking one way or the other to give against you to the post. Because whatever result they give to the superior is what the superior will take it as they are the rightful or the truthful things that they are.
Are you satisfied? Are you aware that if they don't answer you, you can go to the Nerc office in Gwarimpa to complain? They have a forum.
I'm not aware. I'm just hearing it from you. Have a sense or have belief or have trust that trustworthy that if I take my complaint to them, they can easily to resolve.
No, you can't tell at this point.
No, you can't tell her. When you don't try, they have told us that if you bring a complaint, all the complaints that gets to them, they follow it through, and they have even find some discos to pay back in case they are overbid. These are things that happen. They say people don't come to complain. It's like you are guilty of this kind of. You don't have confidence in escalating into the next level. Let's take the next call. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Okoyemi.
Okoyemi, thank you for joining us.
Please, I'm not happy with age. The first thing that they first give me in my life is 64,000 naira. I used to live bulb inside my house.
Did you complain?
I complained to NLDC. I said they should come to my house, come and measure my life. They should measure everything I'm using. I have only 1 feet.
Did they come? Did they come after your complaint? Did they come to?
No, they don't come. The only thing I see, they say nothing they can do to you, so I will pay the estimated.
Are you aware that you can go to a higher level to complain?
I'm not, even this is my first time hearing it in my life. Because every day the thing used to pay me. My bill now accumulated. I also just only 3 bulbs inside my house. Calculated to 70,000. I pay for 5,000 every month. For only 3 bulbs, 1 speed, 1 television in my life.
So you now know that you can complain to. We'll give you the details, the numbers, and the address. Dr. Shitu is going to give it all out towards the end of the program. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead. Your name and where are you calling? Where are you calling from?
My name is Ben from Manama.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Ben, go on.
I wrote a letter to them that I have only 1 room and the only 2 for my house. I'm not having a them charging me. They have been charging me 7,000, 2,000, and they say that they will reduce it, the bill they are giving to me. For more than 5 months, I waited for them. They could not be able to do it. I struggled to get meter, to secure meter, to single phase. And after I get meter, you know that these people from Kabai, I'm just saying the branch from Kabai, they are still giving me the bill, the meter bill every month. They are still bringing bill, and this bill is entering the meter.
Have you complained? Have you taken your complaint to a higher level?
I have not gone to higher levels. I don't know the higher level, and I'm afraid of it because this.
Almost everybody seems to say that they don't know that a Nerc complaint center exists.
Yes. Did they tell you that they migrated your former bill into your meter? Did they tell you that?
They didn't even inform me anything. Even if I go to them, they will tell you that they will do it and continue every month. They will return. They will give me bill. Why I have already secured my meter? I pay for. If I go to recharge, they will give me high. That some pay. They told me that unless I pay 10,000, I can't recharge because I'm pulling them, and I'm not. So it's the money that they are giving me or extra money after I secured my meter.
Okay, Ben, thank you very much. Just hang on and wait for the details of the address and the phone numbers you need to call, as well as every other person listening. You have the opportunity to call them. Hello.
Another caller.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Isaac. I'm calling from Gosa Airport Road.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you see, almost everybody is complaining about the customer relationship. And seriously, it's something that AADC management and Nerc, and is it Nerc or not, supposed to look into. Because even me, as I'm talking to you, there is no month that I will not complain of overbilling.
But have you complained? Have you complained to NAC?
Estimating billing for us.
Have you complained to NAC?
I don't know anything about NAC. I don't know. I don't know. And if there is something like that, I would like to suggest that they should place their offices in some of these service areas. And I don't know how to call it. Some of these AEDC offices, they should have them also there. It will help a lot also. So this is my first time of hearing about that NAC today.
Okay, NAC has an office. They have a complaint about a forum office in Gwarimpa, and when you walk in there, they will listen to you, and they say nobody comes in there and doesn't get attended to. We will get that today, and we'll get the address and the phone numbers they are going to give us. That's why we are here at Primark to do what we are doing. We have more persons on the line. Let's see how much we can take. We have just a few minutes to go. Hello.
Yes, my name is Abu, calling from Life Camp.
Abu, go on.
Abu from Life Camp, go on.
Yes, actually listening to the callers and the issue of NEC, not that actually really very frank with you, not that they are not actually trying, but we're not up to that level as a nation where NEC will stand as an organization to actually satisfy all. But I so want to believe that, yes, we will get to that level. You understand? There are individuals, you understand, and we are still developing.
We also believe so.
What in a capacity like this is that the level of public enlightenment net-wise is very, very low, which I want to actually appeal to them to actually increase in public enlightenment.
That's the point.
Very, very well.
All right, that's good. Let's go to the next call because we just have so much. Let's see if we can take 2 or 3 more calls. Hello.
My name is Joanna. I'm calling from here.
Joanna, go ahead.
Yeah. On Friday, the next day I came to us and forced us to say that same thing. I was telling them that if this was at least 2 weeks before the contract.
They brought a bill for you and said you must pay that same day.
That same day. I don't know if it's done.
Okay, let's go to the next call. We have gotten that.
Okay, we've got it.
They brought a bill and said you must pay that same day. I believe that is not out.
Hello.
God bless you. This is
Your name.
A lot of Nigerians.
Your name, please. And keep your comment short.
I am calling from the camera here, right?
What's your name, sir?
My name is Matthew.
Matthew, welcome to the program.
I have the meter. My major complaint here is a lot of persons. I am not a victim of this. I'm still waiting. Many people in my area where I live in Pate, they have been metered, but they are still giving them bills. Yes, at the point of going to, they come to check your meter, and they tell you that they are on meter reading, and at the end of the day, somebody that was not going before, they suddenly, upon going to buy their unit, they will see a very large amount telling them that they are owing. NAC, a lot of Nigerians don't know anything about NAC. So
okay.
Please, we need this thing to be sorted out.
Thank you very much, Matthew. The next call, the last call. Let's take the last call.
Wow, so many of them coming in.
Hello.
Good morning, sir. I am James calling from Ogo.
Go ahead.
Ogo under Buhari Area Council.
Yes.
The ADC, every month they will give me a bill of 12,000 naira. Even the last month is 12,000 naira. And we are under ration for years now.
But the question is, have you complained?
We have
in writing, because they say you should complain in writing. Have you complained? Have you escalated this complaint? Because it's enough to complain to your neighbor and talk, hey, they are doing, but have we really done what is set out to be done? Are you aware there's a NAC office?
We have all our complaints in our file. All complaints that we have been complaining. Upon the way we bought a transformer here, we are not even enjoying the life. We are now suffering for overbilling every month.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Let me allow Dr. Shitu to respond So particularly, please limit your response to what we can do as consumers to redress the complaints that we have. A lot of people say they are not even aware that you are in existence.
Okay. I would like first and foremost to apologize, for the issue of, complaints that we still have. The electricity sector is still in transition, and I can assure you that the Commission is working seriously, to ensure that Nigerian consumers are happier. This will not happen overnight, but we surely will get there. The first thing I would like to inform consumers is, if you have a complaint, put it in writing. The essence of this is to have an audit trail from the day you complain to the CCU, that is your nearest office. If you don't get any response after 15
Where
days...
do we complain to? Can we just give them the address?
No,
Let's go ahead
CCU,
with the address.
Yes, the CCU is the one where you collect your bills, where you pay your bills.
That is the discourse office.
Then that's the customer complaints unit. Then our Gwarimpa Forum office.
Yes, that's the Nerc
Gwarimpa Forum office. It's at number 14, Road 131, Gwarimpa, Abuja. And their telephone number is 081 4686 2225. That is 0814 686 2225. That's the Nerc Forum office. And I can assure you that all of these complaints are not new to us. And I can assure you we have taken, into advisement the issue of enlightenment. We will definitely.
Okay, let's just quickly hurry into our WhatsApp platform. That will be. Do we have some? Just quickly go through the ones that is germane and goes through to the complaints that we are talking about. I know you have a lot of them. That will be Obiabumo.
Sonny from Duce is of the opinion that electricity issues is a huge scam where both the discos and Nerc benefit at the detriment of the poor consumers. Then Emmanuel from Kubwa, who said he moved into a new apartment in Lugbe from Kubwa, but AEDC officials in Lugbe said that he cannot use his old meter because the revenue goes to Kubwa office, that he needs to buy a new meter.
Well, I advise that he, puts this complaint in writing and escalate it to NLC.
Good. Ohiria.
No, he has to care about it. We have to wrap up.
Yes, I know, but there's something he must explain to consumers, which will help everybody.
Yes. What I want to do is, I want to explain to the consumers is that you don't have this feeling of despondency. The regulator is here. The regulator will definitely, and has been doing so. In fact, like I was saying before we got into the studio, that we have had instances where we sanctioned discos to the extent that we requested them for estimated billing to pay back to the customers and then apologize in writing, which they have done.
Was that in Abuja?
Abuja. Well,
was that in Abuja?
There was a case in Abuja, and we treated it. And Abuja, customers. Some of the customers in Abuja, no, they were written by the
refund and they were
apologized to. So these are instances. But if you don't write it and you don't follow up, don't feel that it's a hopeless situation. It's no longer hopeless. The regulator is here, and I can assure you, nobody is bribing us. We are a very tough regulator. We are doing our best.
And you are not also being hampered by the fact that you are benefiting from.
There is no benefit. It's if you don't perform, you don't get returns.
Financial life. That's what
they don't give us a financial life. It is part of a regulation, and it's out in the frame. It's out there in the public domain. How the regulator gets funded. The regulator equally gets funded from government. So in fact, the sector has been in dire liquidity.
We have had Dr. Shitu Shaibu is the Deputy General Manager, Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission. We have had a field day. We have poured out on behalf of the consumers the anger that you have in the kind of questions we have asked, and he has explained to us that the gap is that we do not complain in the right way, and we have given out the addresses and the phone numbers. That is those who are in Abuja. I believe there are other addresses around Nigeria. Please locate the address of Nerc complaint centers in all over Nigeria. They have about 30 sort of complaints across Nigeria. Locate and complain to them, and they will give you the responses that you require. We must thank you for being part of the program.
Thank you very much.
I also want to thank Kunle Olubiyo for joining us on the program.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And that is how we are going to be wrapping it up. We must remind you, just as we go, that birth certificate and registration is free, and that you must keep to that rule. Don't assist anybody to extort you or family members in the collection and registration of births, whether in the NPC office or at the hospitals. It is free.
It's a very good one. Please, Dr. Shaibu, make yourself more visible to the ordinary people.
My name is Okiri Agbonsolemi. Let's do it again next week on the same station on the program Public Conscience on Radio. Like you know, we are supported by the MacArthur Foundation. Thanks for being part of the program.